All right, everybody, welcome to our next virtual bourbon event. We've got Cooking with Bourbon featuring Will Whitfield as always. Will, how you doing, man?
I am making it for an old man, plugging along slowly but surely, my friend.
If you're old, I don't know what that makes me. I wouldn't foot in the grave.
It's not about the number; it's the highway mile. Right? You
It's the
just
highway.
got a lot of miles.
Oh man, so we're here, kind of last weekend of summer. So this is it. So, and you've got one you said today that's going to be pretty easy. So
Yeah,
this is going to be a simple one for people to make and enjoy as they're doing this. So maybe some of their last cookouts of the year and things like that.
yeah. I'll discuss each one of these meals, especially the main protein, the stuffed chicken, where you can do on the grill, in the oven. These are just some simple, basic, comforting meals. I'll
Okay.
say that we're getting ready to hit fall, and people are starting to do more stews and soups and just stick to your ribs type of meals. And so this is some of my favorites, especially that French onion soup. Any chance I can get, I'll try to make it. The stuffed chicken is a meal that legitly you can put together on a Wednesday night on a whim. Just get some chicken breasts, and as we discuss it and break it down, I'll kind of talk about options and how you stuff it, and actually how we prep the chicken and make it easier for everyone at home, whether if it's in the oven or actually in on a grill or wherever you're cooking it at.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds
But
great.
to get us started, we always got to have a beverage. And
Right.
I was stoked of a buddy of mine that is getting into bourbon also, and I got to get him on the ABV network as a local friend of mine, and we talk about bourbon all the time. Matter of fact, before we started this, we had a few questions, and he's the one who showed me this drink, and it's called a paper plane. I had never heard of it. Some bartender in New York made it, but it's legitly just four ingredients, and it is probably one of the most refreshing bourbon drinks I ever had. It's let me put it this way. My wife is not a heavy drinker. She doesn't like drinks, and she loves this drink. Like, this is her go-to drink.
Hmm.
So,
Nice.
some of the main components are the only components right now. And I'm just learning these right now. But there's two Italian-based. One is a liqueur. There's an Aperol. And the other one is Amaretto. Not Amaretto. I said that wrong. Amaro.
Amaro.
Both of these are Italian flavored based, and I apologize I don't have the background on them. I just know that they're amazing, and they're part of this drink. The next thing that we have is just some freshly squeezed lemon juice, and then your bourbon of choice. I am going to go with a local one here. I don't know. Have you had the Woodinville, Steve?
Yeah. I like what Woodinville does. They're good.
Yeah, they were. Sadly to say, I haven't been up to the distillery.
What? Come on.
I, now you sound like Tony. Tony gives me a hard time about that also.
Right. I mean, yeah. Huh.
It's legitly not even 30 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
It's
Come on.
it's a good drive, but Woodinville has made a really good name for themselves, and I was
Yeah.
skeptical about it at first, but now, man, they're cranking out some good stuff.
Yep.
Honestly, each one of these are just equal parts. Equal parts. Now you can cut back on your shaker, depending on how you want the acidity of that drink. So each one of them take 1 ounce, shaken, and it's right into a hot. But I like mine a little with a bite. So I am going to put a full 1.5 ounces in there.
Okay.
Now, already having that shaker, the ice in there, we're going to go with this Aperol here. I'm going to try not to spill it everywhere. And like I said, again, this is an extremely refreshing drink. Extremely.
Yeah, I've heard of the paper plane, but I've never had one myself. So.
What you'll appreciate, or I hope you guys appreciate, is the color of it. It's got this nice little bright, because of the Aperol, this really lovely red color. So we're going to go with the Whitfield on this. And just an extra for good measures. Close that up. Give it a nice good stir. Now, according to the original recipe, there's no garnish, there's no anything. It's just shaken. Now, granted, this is 2 shots right now. This is 2 drinks.
Okay.
And it's got a nice little, it's almost like a grapefruit pink color there to it.
Yeah.
A foam, no ice. You drink it straight like this, and it is absolutely beautiful. Nice little hit the back of the throat. Great. Just sitting around on a cold day and you want to think about summer. This is it right there.
That'll get it. Okay. That's good.
So that's the drink. I love it. I'll send that recipe, but it's pretty simple on what we're using on each one of those. It's whatever bourbon that you want. I suggest you get a higher proof. That Whitfield was 90, but I've used the Knob Creek at 100. Really good with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to knock it down a little bit, that's fine. But it is a really kind of crisp drink there.
So the bourbon comes through despite the couple other alcohols there. You still taste your bourbon.
I mean, it's very faint.
Mm-hmm.
Very faint.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm assuming. That's why my wife really loved it, because you didn't taste that heavy bourbon, that caramelized. That's kind of masked in with the Aperol. You don't get that vanilla, that smoky charcoal to it. You kind of get this nice mixed drink that you with an umbrella. It needs an umbrella in there. That's what it needs.
That would finish it. Yes.
That would finish it. So let's start with the fun stuff. Let's go. All right. So we'll start talking about that French onion soup. Although it's simple, caramelized for a while, then you add some broth and other seasonings. We're going to add bourbon to it. These items in each one of these meals that we're going to prep kind of cross each other, but they can be prepped in advance. So if you knew you were going to make a fresh onion soup on a Wednesday or something, you can caramelize your onions and do those things on a Sunday and actually wrap them, store them, and they're ready to go. But we're going to move some things around, and let's get some of the stuff here. So what I suggest when it comes to your onions is if you can get some Walla Walla sweet onions, that's great. But regular white onions are fine. I chopped these up last night, put them in a little water to keep them. That will keep it from browning, rotting, things like that. This is a great way to prep things in advance so you're not chopping things all at once in the middle of the night. And these will keep for other things. So I'll use this also, some of these onions in our stuffed chicken breast. I'll use it, maybe pull a few out and chop them up. We'll put them in our creamy spinach that I'm going to make too. That's this added bonus today. But this is what we're going to start with. And what we're going to do is, hopefully you can see this. So what we got going on is this is just some regular butter that's been browned. And what you're doing is just, okay, there we go. Got it going. So this is just a basic brown butter, just a stick of butter. And we'll get that up to temp. We're going to add a little olive oil. Now, when it comes to your onions, let's move this back here. Suggestion of is don't grab them straight out of the water if that's the case. If you've chopped them up, that's fine. Go straight into your butter. But you want to get some of that water out of there. The whole point of us browning these and slow cooking these is to caramelize these, but it brings out natural sugars that are in the onion. The onion is actually sweet. I don't know if you know anybody, but there's a lot of people that eat onions just raw.
Really?
I don't know if you've seen that before, but there are people that eat onions raw. Not sure what's wrong with them, but
Right.
knew that was going to happen. Where did that go? All right, so we got that going on. We'll add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We'll let that come up, and we're going to let this go first and just let this get up and caramelize, and then we'll start breaking down some other stuff. You're going to need 4 to maybe 5 large onions, because as this caramelizes, it shrinks down. Most recipe calls for 6 onions, but it's going to make like 4 ramekins of French onion soup. And a ramekin, if you don't know, is a little ceramic. They come into 2 different sizes.
I didn't know that.
These are little ramekins. They can be used for, and most times I use them for the creme brulee. You can use it for chocolate malted cakes. Anything that you're going to cook and just place right there. So this is a ramekin we can use for the French onion.
Okay.
Pretty inexpensive. You can go to a Barnes, I'm not Barnes, no, but the Bed Bath & Beyond, you get 4 of them for like $10. So we'll get that in there. Let those slow cook for a while. And as that caramelized, we're not going to season it right now. We're going to let that do its own thing, and then we're going to focus on another. So as this is going, I'm going to back away from this, and let's start talking about our chicken. This is a one-man show.
It's good.
So,
nice pan.
I like parsnip paper. If you got a cutting board, using this as a barrier for your cutting board in any kind of raw fish. Sign me up for those. Okay.
Molten cakes, oh, please. That's good.
All right, we get some gloves on, and let's talk about this chicken real quickly. Anytime you stuff something and you're going to cook it with ingredients on there, and one of the biggest problems when it comes to chicken breast is most people dry it out.
Yeah.
They're fearful of salmonella, not cooking it long enough. And there's 2 things. Here's some side notes here. Anytime you're cooking a meat, a protein, you should always let it rest. Now, when you're letting it rest, it's actually still cooking. So, for instance, if someone was cooking a pork butt and you're trying to get it to a certain temperature, you pull it off before that time, let it rest, and it's still actually physically cooking. So, with chicken breast, the temperature that it's finished on that is like 165. So, if you're smoking it or grilling it, you probably want to pull it at 150, 158, wrap it and rest it and allow it to continue to cook. And what happens is as that cools, the juices contract. And it just, with every protein, whether it's chicken, beef, whatever it is, as it cools, those juices come back in. You never should grab that and start cutting it and eating it, because then it loses all its flavor. So the first thing that we'll talk when we cook that is maybe pull the chicken out a little before you need to at 165. That's the first tip.
Okay.
So next with this, I got these at
Those
The
look good.
regular.
Yeah, they look good though. Big.
Yeah, you want to get thicker ones.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely don't want to get the fillets, because what we're going to do, and it's got seasoning on there already, because there's, of course, behind the scenes, some of these are already done. You get a thicker one on here, and what we're going to do with prepping these and stuffing them, you're going to try to make a sandwich. Now, safety is key. Next important tip, after thermometer and after having cooking for temperature, always have and never be scared of a sharp knife. A sharp knife is going to save you from hurting yourself. Because if it glides through and cuts, so we're going to try to make this into a sandwich type of it. So we're going to just split it into half, the thickness. Don't worry about being perfect right down the middle of it. Again, we can help keep the stuffing in by using toothpicks and things like that. So the safest way to cutting this is hold your hand flat on it, and then you just slowly glide that back and forth. It keeps your hands out of harm's way.
Yeah.
And you occasionally pull your thumb in there to make sure the thickness is okay. And you just slowly glide it, and everything's out of harm's way. Once you got a nice little butterfly, it almost looks like a heart, then we know we have it cut all the way through. And it will hold together, and then we'll start doing it. Please don't tenderize it by beating those down, because it's going to break it down and also rip the flesh, which is not going to allow you to hold that meat in there. So you hold that down, just slide that back and forth. Fingers are out of the way. Nice sharp knife. And as you see where that's going, and just kind of, it has a nice little part right there. So we'll do that with those. Next thing, when we begin to season that, another problem that people run into is they fear over seasoning it. The likelihood of you over seasoning it is slim to none. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure you get a nice, good, healthy coat of seasoning. So when I say that is, most people grab this, season the top, and move it away. You want to make sure you season every inch of this, inside and out, before we stuff it. So we're going to use, this is Cribicube.
Okay.
It's an AP rub. His name is Kirk. Kirk is out of Florida. 4 years ago, he reached out to me, helped me with some basic things about Instagram, and has been a really close friend of me ever since. And I legitimately keep Cribicube everywhere in this house. There's Cribicube all through my house. It's a great seasoning rub. He has tons of them. I'll try to do this here without causing a mess. I have all kind of Cribicube up there.
Yeah.
He's from the islands, so a lot of the flavors he has are island-based, i.e. one of the kids' favorite is this Island Thyme. It's a thyme-based seasoning. And the really good thing about a lot of his seasonings is the Jamaican rub. Most of them are salt-free and sugar-free. So if you can, look up Cribicube, and this is going to be the center point of our actual meal right here. So this is just an AP rub. Give a little sprinkle inside of it. Close it up. Close it up. Now inside of these, you can do whatever you want inside of there. What I am going to be putting in here today is going to be a couple different cheeses, tomatoes, spinach, and a little bit of onion. And that's just what I'm putting in it. You can do asparagus, you can do bacon. I've used that bacon jam before inside of there. You legitimately have options upon options. There's a couple recipes where they make a cordon bleu, which is a stuffed chicken breast with ham and Swiss cheese. Amazing. Checking my onions, making sure they're not going crazy. All right. Now, because I've had this in this nice parsnip paper, I'm going to set this just over to the side real quick. Get some gloves. These tomatoes right here that I'm using came out of our garden. Wish I could take you back there and show you some of the garden, but again, back to using good quality stuff, or at least knowing where your food comes from. That's the benefit of going to a farmer's market. At least you get to know who is making your food, or who is growing your food, or who's growing the cattle, chicken, whichever means. It's like a better connection. It's a throwback to the old days. You knew who you were eating food from.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get these right here. These have already been cleaned. Now, when it comes to your tomatoes, because of what you're stuffing in there, you want to try to get a really thin slice in there. If it's thicker, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. That's not the best sharp knife. Set these to the side. Someone's going to eat these. So again, we mentioned that we were going to do like a sandwich type with these. So let's build a sandwich here. So,
Okay.
and that chicken breast, we'll just lay down on one side, a piece of cheese. Another one. A tomato right there. Let's not go heavy with this. Let's get this out of the way. A couple onions. And again, let's season the vegetables. Now, as you fold this, it's going to want to pop out. Can you see me with that, Steve?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Sure can.
We're going to kind of tuck it in, do the old Subway move. And you can get these longer toothpicks, and we're going to kind of sew it back and forward.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's going to help keep the items in there. And we're going to, now we got that set aside. Let's do the next one.
What kind of cheese are you using there?
Oh, good question. Thank you. This is Provolone cheese. Provolone cheese. Good
Provolone.
save, Will.
Good say. Yes. Talking and doing that. Yes. Perfect.
Good save. Okay.
You said Provel there for a second. Now,
This
that's
is,
a St. Louis thing. So do you ever bring Provel back home now when you visit St. Louis, or do you order it and have it shipped?
I do get it shipped.
Yeah.
Every few months, I go through this Emo's like kick. So this is actually provolone. I was hoping it was Provel, but it's provolone. No, I do. Sometimes I get Emo shipped back home. I'll make my little brother ship some stuff to me, and I go through my crazes. But yeah, You cannot find it out here at all. It has to be shipped in. There is one restaurant that does a theme night, and I'm gonna say 2 years ago they did a St. Louis theme, and I heard about it. Went out there, talked to the chef, and he gave me a block of the cheese. But
No, that's cool. Yeah.
oh, that made my year right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and this is just again, that's a really quick, easy, simple meal. Couple of ingredients. We're gonna tuck that in there. Get a toothpick. It don't get your typical toothpicks that are a little short. This toothpick is probably like 6 inches long. So it's not a toothpick, it's more like a skewer.
Yeah.
Am I missing any questions there, Steve?
Nope. No, you're good.
Chris and them saying anything? Okay.
Now,
All right, so
another possibility to get is a Petchke pick. I don't know if you ever heard of them, Will, but he's the one who makes toothpicks out of bourbon barrels. And he sells skewers too. And if you use it in your cooking, it will give you a little taste of bourbon in there. So, yeah,
I need that.
Yeah.
I need that like right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be perfect because he does make the skewers like that in addition to just regular toothpicks too. So
what?
Yeah. I'll introduce you guys via
please do
email, and yeah, maybe he can send you some, and yeah, it'd be a good thing. I mean, with you doing all these shows and that's a good publicity thing for him.
I would love that.
Yeah.
So man, that actually opens up a whole different genre of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get this on the pan. Both of these in there. These are gonna go into the oven at 375 for about, I'm gonna say, an hour and a half.
Okay.
Again, before you put this in here, reseason. Flip on both sides. There's no need to add any oil or anything, butter in there. There's going to be some natural juices that come out that'll keep it moist.
This is simple. Yeah, you're talking, you spent less than 10 minutes prep time there. So
yeah. Your cleanup time is going to be way longer.
Yeah.
And with that, here is so we got a few of those already prepped.
Look at that.
Can you see that, Steve?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
All right. And make sure it just, well, can you really? Let's get some of this mess up. Tomatoes are juicy. Always where you got your skews at. Let's get a little closer.
Looks great. Yeah.
What I put on there was like a little barbecue glaze. And that barbecue glaze is just barbecue sauce, water, Tabasco sauce, and a little brown sugar.
Wow.
But I want you to look at, if I can get this up here.
Chris and Robert have the applause thing. I don't even know how you do that, but yeah, they had the applause icon up there. That was cool.
Hey, got the tomatoes in there. Got some nice juices flowing out of there.
Yeah.
So the tomatoes will help keep the moisture in there. So that's just a really quick meal. You can hide that from the kids and have them actually eat their vegetables, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But there you go. Now let's go and check our onions real quick. We've been talking for a while, and now you can start to see those color brown up. Now that process is going to take some time. I'm going to say a safe bet. Is that a good angle? Nope, that's a better angle right there. All right. So a safe bet on your onions. I have it on a medium heat. It's probably going to take somewhere between 20 to 30 minutes to actually soften and render. It takes its time. This is the hardest part of the actual meal. From this point, once we get it caramelized in, it's going to start darkening, get sweeter. Now we were going to think about if you're going to season it, we're going to season it now. And I am going to use your Sasquatch.
Yes. I've got that.
Have you tried it yet, Steve?
Yes, it's great. Yeah.
Love the guy. The guy who was behind it, his name is Sasquatch Barbecue. He's from the Northwest. And he's probably about 30 minutes away from me. We've been trying to get together, but he's super, super busy. If I can get to his level, it'd be great. But he's got a whole line of different seasonings through Spiceology. Got to try them out. Sasquatch Barbecue. What I love about this one, it's got the herb taste to it. It's not an Italian seasoning, but it is an Italian seasoning almost, but it's got way more things involved in there. With the smoked pepper, the paprika, the bell peppers, it's just amazing. Now we'll get that tossed into there. And let that keep going. Now, as we do that, I'm going to take another sip. How's everybody doing?
Good, good.
All righty. So while it's going, we can work on next putting one more item in the oven. It's the croutons for these. So the croutons for that actual French onion soup, it's just a basic, regular French bread. It doesn't have to be fresh, but we're going to make an actual crouton. And all that is taking regular crouton bread, and we're going to butter these. So what I have going over here on the side, it's just some melted butter right there. I like to season that a little bit. Again, it's just a layer that we're adding into the actual meal. The more layers, when someone says layers, it's just different phases in an actual meal that you're going to be tasting. So every bite should mean something. So I'm making the actual soup, and there's going to be a crouton, so it should have its own flavor. And then when we put the cheese on top, it was going to have its flavor. So every layer has something that it offers to that meal. Going back to the actual stuffed chicken. So we put one seasoning inside of it, and you put a seasoning on top. You can actually mix up the seasoning. If you have multiple different seasonings that you love to actually utilize, don't be afraid to mix match them. If you like the flavor profile and it goes with it, stack those flavors. If you're smoking something, for instance, with ribs or pork butt, you can use 2 different rubs on there. What I've done on ribs is use a rub on one side and a rub on a different side, because it's going to just play with those taste buds and actually enhance the experience. I mean, because all said and done, eating is an experience. So let's collected the onions are really starting to come together.
Well, I've got a fun thing to do too. When you send over the recipes from today, we'll have your French onion recipe. But French onion soup had a really famous one here in St. Louis at the famous bar at one of the malls here, and they had like a lunch counter, and it's like world famous, this lunch counter famous bar French onion soup that was here in St. Louis. I'll include that one just for everybody to have it if they haven't seen it before.
Please do. There's nostalgia to that. My mom used to work at Six Bar in Fuller. I can remember some of the good, stories of that growing up. And I remember having that French onion soup as a kid. I could never get close to that counter. Although they have that recipe online, you can make it. It's a good.
They printed it in the post before and that, so it's easy to get. So I'll grab it and just throw it in there just as a little bonus.
That'd be great. Maybe that would be my next story I write up on that French onion soup.
Yeah, so it's cool because it's got the connection to both of us, St. Louis. So I thought, that'd be pretty cool.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. As we're looking at this right here, it's starting to get some color to it. All right, let's add our next layer to this. And this is where we add our beef broth. So I'm going to add a full container of beef broth, uncut. We're going to use this and we're going to let this sweat out. So this is going to kind of thicken up and we start to make the soup. I am also going to, at this point, add some Knob Creek. So we're going to add a shot and a half of that.
Okay.
Anytime you're cooking with alcohol, I think I mentioned it last time, but just say it again. It's going to extend the cooking time, rendering time, because you want to make sure that you get all of the alcohol out of that meal. Now, it's not taking the bourbon flavor out. It's just not allowing what we drink bourbon for to be in that meal. It's got this unique bitterness to it when you cook with it, and it actually takes it out and tame it. But once you're cooking with it, then you get the other elements, the things that what we really enjoy, like the vanillas, or if it has a caramel, or if it has a floral sense. Once we burn that alcohol out, then the real stars of that meal start to come out. All right, so now we'll take some of this butter, and what I'm going to do as this comes up to temp, we're going to move the show over a little bit, and we're going to take, just use gloves, we're going to take that butter, and we're going to just dip it in there. And this is going to go on to our French onion soup.
Okay.
We're going to bake this in the oven and put that in there. And this is going to go also to that same 375, 350. And we'll let that go for, we'll check this out. This should probably go for like 10 minutes. We don't want it burnt. We just kind of want this just to, again, to be a crouton. And then take the renderings, the rest of it, put it in there. Grab the non-hot. So now we've got that in there. We're going with that. We'll let that go. We'll move back over to, and now we're seeing it bubble up and look all lovely and beautiful. Can you see that, you guys?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Here, let me help you.
Yeah, that's what we need. They need to, someone needs to invent the smell-o-vision. You've heard about this, since I was a kid, but yeah, someone needs to actually invent that. I don't know how they do it, but they figure out a lot of cool stuff. So
we've got watches that talk to people.
Right.
We've got all kind of stuff. We can't get smell-o-vision. Come on.
Right. Yeah. I just need to focus on it a little bit. So
we're focusing on the wrong things.
Right.
Now, just as an idea, as this goes, I'm going to give you a viewpoint of what our end goal is, what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that we get a caramelized. You see how dark that is?
Yes.
Those are caramelized onions. These will keep, and you can use them for anything. Put them on a steak. You can use this cooled and stuff it in a chicken breast. There's so many different things you can utilize that with. It takes its time, but it is one of the most sweetest things you'll ever eat, as caramelized onions. So our end goal as we get to this, we're gonna let that render down. This is gonna be a soup. Now I'm going to add some other little elements because of what I like into the actual flavor profile of that is I like it a little bit sweeter, not as tart, and even on top of the sweetness of the onion, I'm going to add a little bit of this bourbon, maple syrup, and it's going to kind of help thicken it up too. So you can notice that it kind of cooled it down. We're going to render that for a while. In fact, I'm going to put those other onions back in there. Get to the point right there. Let those go. Get this back up to temp, and let the food there. And let's talk about our creamy spinach. I didn't post about this last time. On our page, but Steve, I wanted to make a side that went well with that actual stuffed chicken, and to me, creamy spinach is one of the best sides that you can get in the profile. So we're gonna kind of make that right now. I'm gonna move over.
Okay.
And you can use a different type of oil on this. I'm going to use, sometimes I use butter, sometimes I use olive oil, but we're going to do olive oil. And you want to use like 2 or 3 tablespoons of EVO. Get that to a medium heat. We're going to add some garlic there. I'm going to take some of these onions that I had together already, kind of chop them up. We're going to add that into there. And this is they call it the Holy Trinity, onions, olive oil. Actually, technically it's more so onions and celery, but this is my Holy Trinity right here. The garlic, olive oil, and onions. One note when you're using this and you're cooking with these is you don't ever want it too high, or you want to be careful on as you roast these or grill these. You don't want to burn them because it gets rid of the actual flavor profile that you want. So as you watch this, we're going to look for a couple things. You can see these it's going to be some bubbles that come up as they start to release the moisture from there. Let's get a better angle on there. Just start to bubble. We're going to actually listen to this and also smell it to know when we're going to go to our next step. At this point, again, we don't want to season it too quickly. We want to let its natural flavors play a part of it. You can start to see it pop up and bubble up. By paying close attention to this and not letting it burn or stepping away from it, we don't lose the garlic and we don't lose the actual onion flavor. So we'll let this go for a few seconds.
Okay.
Man, can you smell it?
Well, it looks like it's going pretty well there. So
It's going.
yeah.
It's catching up.
Yep.
And you'll start seeing some of the little browning going on, and we'll keep moving these around so we don't over brown those. Now on this one, I'm going to use this Calypso from Kirby Cube, and it's just a basic all-purpose seasoning. It's not a rub. It's something you can just put on popcorn. You can put on anything. It's a nice. It's an updated Mrs. Dash. That's if Kurt Herbie say that, he'd probably go ballistic. It's not a Mrs. Dash. No, but it's a good. What I'm saying, it's a good seasoning you can put on anything. If
kind of all-purpose.
If you needed some extra like flavor, yeah, there you go. It's all-purpose. All right. I don't know if you cooked with spinach before. It's horrible. It's messy, and it legitly wilters to literally nothing. So we're gonna stuff that pan right there.
Gonna load it up. Okay.
And we're gonna listen. Now, it's gonna start crackling and popping on that. Not a problem. We're gonna add a little moisture to it. So I just got a little water, a couple tablespoons. And you just keep checking this. It's gonna start going down. And we're adding the moisture to that to make sure that we don't burn those onions that are sitting under there, those garlic that we're gonna toss into this. And you can get the spinach prepackaged any store, Schnucks, Dilbert's, wherever you live at, whatever grocery store, they have it, anywhere. We're just gonna let that sweat down. You can see it already is rendering and getting smaller by the second. It's like one of the worst things about cooking spinach. You get a whole bag and it's barely a meal for one person. Now, at this point, as I get my mess together, we're gonna add more. Sweat that down. And I'm going to hit it with a little seasoning. And a little more olive oil. Probably about a tablespoon. I'll watch that go. At that point, we'll just come over and check on our nice onions that are getting darker by the second. It's getting that nice. You can kind of see some of them right there. It's getting a real good color on it. We'll let those stew down a little more. need a cameraman, Steve.
Yes, I need to come out there. Every time I'll fly out there, we'll do this live together.
There, that's actually a great idea. I like that. All right. Now we look at this spinach. It's kind of wilted down now.
Yeah, it's cooking down quick at this point. Look at that.
It doesn't take very long.
Yeah.
But now the fun starts. Now at this point, you could probably stop here and eat this here, but it won't be very creamy. So, a couple elements that we're going to add into this right here. We're going to add cheese and milk. Basic necessities of life. So as this is bubbling up right here, we give, I'm going to say, nice 2 heaps of cream cheese,
okay,
which is probably like 4 tablespoons. We're going to add a cup of milk. We're going to also add a cup of heavy cream. And lastly, we're going to add some cheese to this. Now, most recipes call for Parmesan. I like Romano cheese with that.
mm-hmm.
Any kind of those sharp cheeses will do well with this. We'll let that come together. Let that stew. Now, the point of putting that the cream cheese is to get like that smooth flavor to it. The actual heavy cream will make it thicker, and the cheese is going to thicken it up right there. And we're going to let that go for a little while and let that bubble up. But now we have some creamy spinach, and it's going right now. You know what? Don't be scared of the cheese. Don't be scared of cheese. All right, we'll let that go for a second. Back to our onions.
They're looking good.
They are, man. Got some nice chunks in there. So based on how or what your texture point is, we'll either let this go or make sure you cut down your onions small enough. Oh, that's looking really good. Oh, just making a mess. All right, any questions so far? Am I missing anything, Steve?
Nope. You're good. Feel free to jump in though at any time.
So I was also thinking. Say it again.
I was just telling Chris and Robert if they want to jump in at any time, feel free. No problem. Questions?
All right. All right. Don't mind the mess. Don't mind the rickety movement there. All right. Let's check our croutons. And we should be good to go on those and start building. All right, we'll look at that. So as we get this going, you can see that here. Get a little ladle. Get that soup. Now, you don't want to fill it all the way up.
Okay.
We want to get it to, let's say, where you got about a quarter of it left at the top. And the reason why is because we still have more elements to put in here. We got more things to get inside of there. That might be too much. Take some out. Try not to be as messy as I am. At this point, that bourbon smell in here should be intoxicating and literally just causing you to go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is really caramel, really good. All right. All right, here we go. So we got our croutons that we're gonna grab and just get them. If they should be seasoned in there, and let them sit in there and soak up. We'll take that, put a little bit of provolone you had on there. Go to, again, don't be scared of the cheese. Cheese is your friend. There we go. Put that back into your oven. You can use a tray. You can put it straight on there. I purposely just put it back into a tray and slide it back into there. And is that hot? Yeah, that's hot. That was a stupid question.
Careful, yeah.
You know, you don't really think what you think. We'll sit there. Those go back into the oven at 375 for a few minutes. And then you kick it up the last 5 minutes on broil.
Wow.
And as a final notion, what you do with that is I like to garnish that with either parsley or, strangely enough, I love cilantro. Something just to off. And there you go, French onion soup.
Beautiful.
On each one of those ramekins right there.
That looks really good.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Let me dig into one, see if it's okay.
Yeah. I need to get that to my kid. She loves French onion soup. She's crazy about it. So.
Oh, look at that. That's just. Oh yeah, that's okay. It'll be all right. All right. So we got a cream of broccoli. I mean, not cream of broccoli, cream of spinach. Okay, that's it. You cut off, Will.
It's a live show. This is live. So.
And this is really thickening up. You see the look. Now that color, I don't know if you can tell that color is not as creamy or as white. It's because of the type of seasoning I used. And if you scrape on the bottom, you get some of that. You're deglazing that pan, and that is as best side as you can get right there. That
Wow.
That creamy will go anywhere you want it to go. All right, so let's start talking about our dessert. Our dessert, which it's gonna look familiar, because it's actually the makings of, or the beginning makings of like an apple pie.
Okay.
So inside of that, it's going to be, we're going to just use apples, but I'm not going to use the Granny Smith. We got Gala apples out here that are really tasting very good, and I'll use those.
Okay.
But you can use whatever apple you want. I mean, don't put yourself in a situation where you have to use a certain type of apple. They all taste a little bit different. And let's go. Get this off of here. Steve, you gotta let me know if I'm missing anything.
Nope, you're right. You're right on, man. It's all good.
All right. Okay, so what we're going to do is just take some apples, chop them up, make them sweet, and make it all good. But this recipe, again, could be used for a crumble. It could be used for an appetizer. It could be used for the dessert. It could be used for anything. So what I like to do is just cut and core an apple. I mean, you guys have seen this 1,000 times. It's not a big deal. Chop them up. And what we're going to do with that chopping up at that point is to get it into some butter. And I got a pan going over here. Now, this is not going to make a huge difference right now. Depending on the size of those cups that you make is how you actually chop these up. What I mean by that is the size of them. If you're going to have it in a type of large pan, then you can chop them up in large sizes. If you're going to have it in these little Filo cups, which I'll show you in a second, you're going to want to make sure you get it into small bite sizes just to make sure it doesn't overfill your actual cup that we're going to be putting it in. So we'll get that in there. We'll do a couple of these. Now, if you notice here, I'm not really too worried about the skin on there. I like the contrast on there, especially because we're going to be sauteing these and softening them up. So you won't taste that roughness. And quite frankly, I need the fiber, so I should leave the skin on there. But we get the butter going on that over there. We'll take some of these. As a side tip, if you're ever cutting this in advance, again, this is a meal you can cut and chop in advance. Use lemon water or salt water to keep the actual apples from browning.
Okay.
So if you cut this in advance and you say, okay, I want to do this the night before, you can do it the night before. Just put it in a lemon bath or put it in a salt water bath. And that's just putting the water at whatever the part is. For instance, if it's 4 cups, you might have like 4 teaspoons of salt in there. Make sense?
Yeah.
So we'll get this going. Last one. And as that butter is taking its own sweet time. And this is a nice little meal that the kids will love and everybody will be fan. All right. I'm not cutting this right, so please don't critique me cutting, please. All right. Let's take it over here. That creamy spinach is doing good. All right, that's done. We'll let that set up. Take that off. We'll get this going. The butter is in there. And
they were impressed with your knife skills, so you're good.
say it again.
Chris and Robert were impressed with your knife skills, so you're good. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sweet. Thank you. All right, we got that in there. We'll let that go sauteed in there. I am going to start adding brown sugar. Probably about a half a cup of brown sugar. We're gonna add some cinnamon. We're gonna add nutmeg, vanilla extract, a lot of vanilla extract. Sit nutmeg. Mix it up. Add about a shot or two of bourbon. We're just gonna let all those little flavors marry together, caramelize. They'll cook down. Again, we're gonna let this cook down a good time because we want to get the alcohol out. If for some reason it still has a bite to it or it's bitter, add a little more sugar to it.
Okay.
And let that go. And from this point now, we're going to add these little Filo pastries. Again, this is just for if you're going to use for appetizer. For instance, we could use this and put that creamy spinach into this, and it could be a little handful, a little bite-sized little treat. And you don't have to necessarily cook those, but we've already cooked these. And we just put them in there as they render down. They're going to shrink in size. We put them into the oven, say about, I remember that was 30 minutes. But we're looking for a color on this. Again, it's not about the time. I want it to have like a little burnt crisp to this. So we put those into the oven, take that out after 30 minutes, set them to the side. Now I'm going to make my bourbon whipped cream, which is just heavy cream, a little bourbon, and a lot of arm movement. So if you have an electric blender, use it. If you have your food processor, use it. If you have your KitchenAid, use it. Do not do this the old school way with just a whip. But the key to making a good whipped cream is actually chilling your bowl in advance.
Okay.
So the bowl has been chilling. As you can see, it's pretty frosty.
Okay.
We're going to add about 2 cups and a half. We're going to add a little bourbon.
Okay. Little Knob Creek there.
Say it again.
Was that Knob Creek?
Yeah, that was the Knob Creek.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Gotcha. Yep.
And we're going to grab 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, I just know how many shakes it is, but I'm going to just tell you it's 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
I am going to mix it. No, I'm not going to mix it.
Oh, all right. You said that for us not to do that, and here, yeah, like that's what you're doing. Okay.
I need to work out. I'm just going to take this my electric mixer and just go to town on it. And it's just let it go until it thickens up, whippens up. And it's going to start to thicken up. Actually, the cooling of the actual bowl helps create that thickness a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
We're already there.
Wow. Okay.
It's legitly already.
Looks delicious.
So once you get that squared away, there's many ways you can actually pipe that onto there. They have these dessert pipers that you can use. That's the best way I found to do it, is to get like this little dessert piper here,
Okay.
fill it up, and squeeze it on. You know, you roll this back. Get a spoon of this in here. I mean, just because it's the smaller ones. If it was just a regular meal or a regular dessert, you wouldn't necessarily have to do this, but you don't want this to get out of hand. So we roll the top down because this gets messy really quick. Pull it out of the way. And begin your
Man, I want one of those. Yeah, I want one of those, buddy. That looks delicious.
Well,
maybe,
sir.
Maybe a half a dozen, not just one.
There you go. Well, that's the beauty of it. You don't feel as guilty by eating 12 of these versus eating a whole bowl of them.
Right.
And at the last point, actually, you can dust this with a little bit of cinnamon. And you have the ultimate little handheld dessert. So.
That looks amazing.
Well, Steve, that's all I got for you.
You did it again. I'll tell you what. You deliver. That looks awesome. All those, I bet you those are delicious. You got to try one. Try one of those for us. Do us a favor.
How about I do this? Hey, sweetie.
Okay.
I'll do that.
The old taste test here.
But I'm gonna do that. Hey, honey, Chris, did you come here for a second? I am sure I'm going to get in trouble for this. So yeah. I better drink now. If there's not a next show, just know what happened.
The surprise come on camera is never a good thing.
Oh no! I'm not gonna do the camera deal. I'll just have.
Are you just gonna hand it right off camera? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's actually the funny story behind that is. Most of my friends that I cook would give me grief because I don't test my own food.
Uh-huh.
I rarely taste it. I rarely eat it. Not because I don't, but because the process is so long that I just don't do it. So my wife is my tester. She's my taste bud. So when people say this is amazing, it's like, well, you need to thank my wife because I didn't try it. Hey, sweetie, could you try this for me real quick? You're not on the camera. Then Steve want to verify if these taste okay. Here you go. It looks good. I know. Just try it. Is it okay? Too cinnamon? Could you say it out loud? Not with your food in your mouth. Here, sweetie. Here you go. Steve, mommy and daughter like this, so everything is okay.
Everything's good. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like a winner then. Yeah.
All righty. So I think we did it though. So there we go.
Absolutely. Great. Well, great job. I think once again, you did an excellent job of bringing us some cool stuff that, and you make it easy. You show us how easy the stuff can be to make. So, and you don't have it easy. You do all the pre-work and
far from easy.
Yeah. You do all the pre-work and then you do a great job of a one-man show. I don't know how you do a one-man show on a cooking thing. So, yeah. Yeah, you talked about the Food Network before. You put together a Food Network quality show by yourself in a kitchen, in your own kitchen. It's not like you're in a studio, so that's good.
I wish that was the case. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Now the fun part begins. Is actually taking all this food and delivering it somewhere. Again,
if I come out to that area, if I for some reason was moving, I would have to live in your neighborhood. I mean, clearly, there's great benefits there. I mean, come on, you're bringing over food all the time.
My wife just whispered to me, "You need to overnight them some food." I might have to vacuum seal you some barbecue and overnight you some stuff there, Steve.
That would be amazing. Yes. That would be
yes, please.
Double yes, please. We were just saying that. He needs to put that in some ice and just sip it to both of them.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, you're on camera now. You're on camera now. You're on camera now.
Sorry.
You're officially on camera now.
When you called your sweetie in there to taste that, that's me with my husband trying to get him to come taste something. So I know exactly what you mean. Great job.
Oh, man. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. I look forward to this growing and getting bigger and actually getting a nice following and getting some background to this. So
yeah.
Thank you, Steve, for allowing this platform.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna get this thing where it's bigger. We just gotta work on it, and you're delivering on the quality side of it. So now it's just a matter of getting people to understand that and come on and give it a try, and then hopefully we can get to where people are excited, every month about these.
Well, we really enjoyed it.
Absolutely,
really enjoyed it. So thanks, appreciate it.
And we get tips every time that we're watching this. I love the little Filo cups. I've never used them before. I've done bourbon apples on top of cornbread, but that, oh my gosh, that.
And a cream, you're making a cream spinach tomorrow.
I'm making a cream spinach tomorrow. I've had it. I love it. I never knew how to make it. So good job.
Thank you very much. I got somebody stealing from me.
Yeah, you look like and I see right off camera. We got another one waiting in the wings there. So yeah, we got to get out of your way because people are wanting to eat now. So yeah. I can't blame them because the smells have to be fantastic. So yeah.
Well, I again thank you guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Much love. I need those pictures from barbecue. Just remember that.
Send them a picture, Robert. Don't forget.
Okay.
We'll send a picture.
All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you. Take care. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.